Thank you, Chairperson. Minister, I suppose it's pretty clear what my objective here is what jobs have been created in the last 12 months in the constituency of Cork South West. How many? I'd appreciate if you could give us a breakdown and the geographical spread of those jobs. It's a huge constituency all the way from Inishannon and Kinsale all the way back to Dursey Island and the Mizzen Head and Sheep's Head. Unemployment is a huge concern in that constituency. Good, decent jobs, and I'd appreciate maybe you'll be able to outline where them jobs have been created the past 12 months. Thank you.
Thanks for hearing. Thank Deputy Collins for the question. I'm sorry to say the exact information that you request, Deputy Collins, is not readily available just yet, but as soon as we have it or updated figures for the last number of months, we'll bring it on to you. However, I can inform the Deputy about the jobs created within Enterprise Ireland and IDA's client base for the year 2020. The Central Statistics Office also provides data from the Labour Force Survey, although it does not record whether a job is newly created. My department collects data on employment in the client companies of our agencies, which is Enterprise Ireland, IDA, as well as Oireachtas na Gaeltachta, as well as engaging with the LEOs on an annual basis. So the data provided through the annual employment survey for 2020 tells us that 2,702 net jobs were created within Enterprise Ireland and IDA client companies in the South West region, which covers your region as a reference, covering counties Kerry and Cork. According to the CSO, the most recent employment figures available under the Labour Force Survey are for Q2 of 2021. Employment for the South West region was 309,000 in Q2 2020, and it increased to 332,200 in Q2 of this year, an increase of 23,200. If we look at employment in Q2 2019 to show pre-pandemic times, employment was 319,900, so the increase compared to pre-COVID and Q2 of this year is an increase of 12,300 jobs for the region. Employment figures for local enterprise office clients are also available for 2019 and for 2020. The net change in jobs for the South Cork Leo, which covers your area, is 97 jobs created in 2019 and minus 10 in 2020, which will reflect the pandemic that we just went through. As the Deputy will be aware, the Economic Recovery Plan, published in June, sets an ambitious target to exceed pre-crisis employment levels and by having 2.5 million people in work by 2024 and more productive and resilient jobs. The plan sets out the Government's commitment to create the right environment for jobs-led recovery by helping businesses become more resilient and agile and by supporting people to transition to new jobs in growing sectors of the economy. SMEs, as you know, Deputy, account for over 2/3 of total employment, and as such a strong focus on Indigenous SMEs is critical to a jobs-led recovery. Under Enterprise Ireland's Regional Enterprise Development Fund...
Thank you, Minister. If you want to come back...
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks,
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Minister, for the reply. You're saying 2,272 jobs, but that's in the whole South West. This is including Kerry and in Cork and West Cork, and I was particularly interested in the West Cork figures because that's the specific question. Unfortunately, you don't have those figures for 2020. No, we're at 2021 at the latter stages of 2021, and you're saying 97 jobs are created in 2019 and 10 jobs in 2020. We're feeling the pinch, I suppose, down in West Cork, and I would have preferred a breakdown of the figures, you know, specifically going to towns like Bandon, Clonakilty, Kinsale, Skibbereen, Bantry, Dunmanway. But we also have to think of the peninsulas here. And over the past number of years, the peninsulas have been totally dependent on farming and the fishing industry, and both of those are on their knees at this stage. Well, the fishing crisis is unbelievable, but the farming crisis is rumbling right on down on top of that at the moment. What future have we created for people in peninsulas that are going to suffer quite a lot over the next number of years, Minister?
Thanks for hearing. And again, probably what I was going to reference there was the Enterprise Ireland Fund of 115 million for regional enterprise strategies and plans. So I think it's a good time, Deputy, that you raise this issue with us, because we're about to probably sign off on the regional enterprise plan for your area, and I've no doubt you made a submission to that with some suggestions of how we can create jobs and serve the peninsula and the various towns you reference as well. I'm very conscious that in your area there's farming and fishery that are very strong areas of employment, and farming has had some good years, yes, some difficult challenges ahead, but there also can be regarded as opportunities. Both Kerry and Cork Leos and the enterprise strategies in the area reflect that agri-food opportunity that's there, both from when it comes to agriculture as well as fisheries as well. Naturally, the whole area, farmer, life sciences, ICT and tourism and hospitality are a key areas that we want to work with all interested partners in the areas. The best way to implement, I would say, enterprise support is through the Leo Enterprise Office in your own local areas, but I think the regional strategy is key, and I chair that strategy for your area. We expect to be able to sign off on their plan in the next couple of weeks, and certainly before the end of the year. November will be key to do that. In that will reflect a number of actions that can be implemented and funded through Enterprise Ireland, through our department, in the years ahead to try to protect existing jobs, but also increase the opportunity to create new jobs. And I'd be very happy to work with our interested partners in the area in doing that.
Thank you, Minister, and definitely we look forward to working with you too. But I think to create jobs in rural Ireland and I suppose speak back to the seriousness of the situation in relation to the collapse of the fishing industry and it looks like it's going to be the collapse of the farming industry too in this country, unfortunately. We need to look at areas like rural broadband. Rural broadband hasn't come to areas like West Cork as of yet. It's been promised 5, 6, 7 years ahead. I looked at the local newspaper there last week, the Southern Star newspaper. Crowleys have been in Shannon, want to open up a local hub. At Barron in Shannon to open up a local hub, obviously to keep the pub business going, but also provide a service for the local community. No broadband. In Shannon, just down off of Cork City. It tells you how many light years away we are from reality. The roads in West Cork, I spoke to the Tánaiste early this morning, there is no vision for roads in West Cork. To create employment into West Cork, you need to have a proper road structure. We have a failure in the road structure. We have no bypass, either the Southern Relief Road or the Northern Relief Road, Shannon bypass, Bantry bypass, none of them have been included in any plans going forward this year. Public transport is an all-time low. Well, we need change, Minister, here if we want to create good jobs for West Cork and be put on the same level playing pitch as every other constituency in this country. Thank you.
Minister, to conclude.
Development agencies have that regional approach, and the proof is in the pudding when you look at the figures of Enterprise Ireland and IDA, and that over 65% in both scenarios of their jobs are created in the regions as well. The Leos, the Regional Enterprise Plan, they're very much focused on your own area too. You mentioned two areas particularly, rural and rural investment. I think you can very clearly see, if you analyse the budget that was allocated to the Department of Rural Affairs for Heather Humphreys over the next 4 years, there's close to £1 billion will be spent in the rural area. I have no doubt you and many others will be involved in a number of projects that will draw down that funding. Many parts of rural Ireland have the opportunity to thrive. The remote working strategy that the Tánaiste launched last January will complement that offering and give people the chance to be able to live and work in rural Ireland and many areas you represent as well. I don't share your view on it, that agriculture is going to suffer out of our future plans. You're reluctant to admit that agriculture has thrived in many areas over the last couple of years, and we can build on that with the right approach. But I would have a more positive approach or outlook than you would have. That's your prerogative, that's your choice. In relation to rural broadband, what's key here is that the contract is signed. There are plans in place to deliver rural broadband into everyone's home and to every business. That's at our further than we were a couple of years ago. Yes, we all know for that to happen on the ground will take a number of years. There are negotiations on the way in relation to the remote working strategy launched by the Tánaiste last January to have that contract reviewed, and where we can, we will speed it up. But key for me, and you should be the same, is that the contract is signed, which will result in the spend of over $5 billion in broadband in this country, which means everybody you represent will have broadband soon. Yes, we all wish to have it yesterday and tomorrow, but at least they know it is coming. And if you have some great way to speed it up, I'd love to hear about it as well.
Thank you, Minister.